Let's keep it 100. It's not always about you or something you did. Sometimes it's just something different. Hello, my name is Chris Nella, the host, creator, and founder of Nella Scope, the podcast, and welcome back. On this podcast, our main goal is to create a healthy lifestyle for all creators and to make their creative grind, their independent grind, 100 times smoother. We also deal with some of the anxieties and the mental health issues that a lot of us have. And with those issues, creativity is stifled. So what we like to do, we like to address those issues and present some solutions to make your life 100 times smoother. On this episode, CHF, the cold hard facts. Time to take your medicine. You understand me? It's some cold hard truths that I'm going to give to you, and hopefully they'll help you get ahead in life. Now, before we start this episode, there are a couple of things that I would like for my Nella Nation or every listener. If this is your first time or your 5,000th time, I can't even say the word, but you know what I'm saying. If you listen to it a whole heap, a whole lot, if you listen to the podcast for some time, there are a couple of things I want you to do. One, go to www.thisisnella.com. Take a look at my website, peruse through all of the previous episodes, learn a little bit more about me, and the best part, drop me a line if you so desire. Number two, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Podomatic, wherever this podcast is being broadcasted, do me a gigantic favor. It'll be my Christmas present, my birthday present, every present. If you could leave me a thumbs up, if you're on Apple, a 5-star review, an actual review, just saying, hey, I like it. And let me explain to you why this is very important for us at Nellascope. We want to make sure what we're doing, the information that we're putting over the airwaves is still relevant. It's important to us to do a gauge of what we're doing and to make sure that we're still delivering that hot fire. I want to jump right into today's topic, the cold hard facts, or I like to call them the CHF. Number one, it's not that everyone that has ever hurt you or ever rejected you is against you and your journey. Maybe they don't know the proper way to judge your success. And here's another point to that. I guess this would be point 1A. The very thing that you're doing now, they have failed at that thing. Think about that. This is where we have to have compassion, because it may be that they spent thousands, tens of thousands to do what you're doing and making it look easy. They don't know how to process it. So think about that. It's not that everyone is against you and your grind, and they just can't accept that you're tearing it up, and they failed over and over and over, but they didn't see your mentors. They didn't see how much you read. They didn't see how much you researched. They didn't see how much you invested. They didn't see that part. They just see your success, and they've established a judgment based on that. Again, this is where we have to display compassion, because it's not all about you and what you're doing. Sometimes people are hurting, and what you're doing is kind of shining a light on it. And I say that, hear my heart. I don't want you to shrink for a minute. You shine bright as God intended for us to do. You're succeeding, and some people don't know how to handle it. So here's another cold, hard fact. Now, this is one that in today's world of having a niche and all of that stuff and being branded properly, I think is very important. And I want all creatives to hear, whether you're a baker, a painter, a singer, a producer, a writer, a rapper, an author, all of those R's. I want you to hear number two. It's not that you don't know enough or learned enough. It's that you have not felt enough. Because here's the fact. If you're trying to make a 22-song album about love and hurt, you've never been in love or hurt, that's going to come through as some musical garbage, because of the simple fact you haven't felt enough. And again, just like number one, we're going to do a 1A. Experience/disappointment is the best teacher, because it'll teach you what not to do to avoid getting into this situation. And the best part about it, you can share that with others. If it's a heartfelt pain and a heartfelt remedy, people will feel that and understand. That's why my number 2, I think, is very strong, and I wanted you to really mull it around. In some cases, you haven't felt enough. I had to teach myself production. I had to lose some deals. I had to some very harsh criticism, and I had to take that. I felt, and I felt some no's. I felt some not nows. I felt some rejection. And that made me a better songwriter, a better producer, a better podcaster. So number 2, it's not that you don't know enough or learned enough, you have not felt enough. So go back and really take a deep look at what you're doing and find out if you've felt enough to really make that thing shine, to make it transparent, and to really link in with your listeners or your followers or your subscribers or your people who eat your pies. Find out if what you're giving is from the heart. So, number 3, and this one right here, this is hopefully gonna break some chains and set you free. Number 3, you should never allow someone who has never done what you have done, invested what you have invested, sacrificed what you have sacrificed. You should never allow them to downplay your win, regardless of how small it may seem. Degrees and certification mean little to nothing compared to someone who has been in the trenches. Someone who's released a book or a single or been on tour or has written a play. You know, the internet is full of these so-called gurus who talk about it but never be about it. I know that's not proper vernacular, but you understand me. They talk about it, but they don't be about it. So my thing is, just because you learned it in a book doesn't make it so. I felt this. I've lived this. So what you want to do is be very careful about the outside information that you receive. Go ahead and release your book. Sell your music or your art, your how to bake in 30 minutes or less. Do it, because here's one thing for sure and 2 things for certain. If you sell only 1 single, if you sell only 1 book, guess what? And I'm not the greatest mathematician. My math isn't always the best, but the last time I checked, 1 is more than 0. 0 is a place of nothingness. 1 is a place of progression. So that 1 book, that 1 single, that 1 website that you created, that is your place in history. Don't allow what someone who hasn't achieved what you've achieved and just read 1,000 books and looked at social media for years, downplay that win. I love you. Get out there and live your absolute best life. Carpe diem. Now it's time for Moments to be Inspired by. This is a part of the show where I give real life situations and quotes that help propel me, and I hope they'll help propel you to the next level. The quote for today is, to be beautiful means to be yourself. You don't need to be accepted by others. You need to accept yourself. And that was Moments to be Inspired by. Nella Nation, episode 57. It's a wrap. Guys, I'd like to thank you wherever you're listening to all of my listeners around the world. Thank you for continuously listening and spreading the word, because it's a fact. I don't know anybody in some of these countries. I have listeners in France, Germany, Spain, Costa Rica, Japan, South Korea, Romania, UK, Brazil, Chile, Pakistan, Russia, Ghana, Czech Republic, Serbia, Netherlands, Switzerland, China, India, Denmark, Italy, Saudi Arabia, Kenya, just to name a few. But my point is, thank you. You guys are spreading the word. You guys are doing the most good where you are, and I appreciate you for spreading the most good. And I'm honored and I'm touched to be in your home and on your personal devices, during your transits or in your time where you're just spending family time or cleaning up. I am honored to be that voice going through those speakers or those ear pods or whatever the case may be. I'm honored, and the pleasure and honor is all mine. Next week, tune in for, it's going to be a personal one, guys. Next week, tune in for I Hate Needles. I'm going to be upfront with you. There's not going to be any triggering moments of this podcast, but it will be some very truthful moments that will help you get ahead. You know, as I do, I keep it 100, but I give practical solutions to help us advance our own lives. Before we go, I have the most important thing of this podcast to say to you. Yes, you. The most important thing I have to say is I love you, but God loves you more. Let that sizzle in your spirit. Guys, I'm still in love with what I do. I'm still in love with my Nella Nation. Make sure you tune in on the next episode of Nella Scope, the podcast, when we talk about I Hate Needles. I will see you then. Live hard, laugh hard, but love hard. Take care of each other. It's your man, Chris Nella, and I'm gone.